Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining us in the co-host seats, as always, are our good friends Angela Rose.
Hi, everyone.
And Mr. Darren Starling.
Good evening.
We want to remind everybody that Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you tonight by Casey Fox for all of your artwork, commission, and cosplay needs. Be sure to check out Casey Fox, that's KAYCIFOXX, on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, you will see Casey Fox appearing at Rail City Fan Fest coming up next weekend in St. Albans, Vermont. We also are brought to you by our partnership with W Energy Drinks. If you're looking for an energy drink without the crash, no sugars, it's a wonderful little powder that you put into like a 20-ounce shaker bottle. This is the newest bottle that I got. They do have anime girl designs on there, designed for gamers. This has replaced coffee for me. I have coffee maybe once a week now, and I usually will have one or two of the W's, and it's actually got me to drink a lot more water. And it works really, really well. So if you're interested in checking that out for yourself, go to www.dubby.gg. Check out everything that they've got. They've got some great flavors there. If you see stuff you like, use code AZR10 in the checkout to save 10% off of your order. We're also brought to you tonight by Darren.
Yep.
I like to simply just a little yep. If you're down in the Raleigh area and you need lawn care service, reach out to Triple S Lawn Care.
I'll get you taken care of.
That's like the laziest self-promo by Darren he's done yet.
I am inclined to agree.
You don't change, Darren. I love what you add to the show. This is already starting off fun.
Anytime, sir.
And we've already got greetings from the chat.
And hello to John and Mario, and hello to everybody who's tuning in, whether you're live right here on Sunday night, June 18th. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Happy wedding anniversary to my wife. We were married 7 years ago on this day. And I've told that story way too many times, but it's crazy to think it was 7 years ago today. We were dressed as Pokemon at a Comic-Con getting married.
I can't believe it's been 7 years.
I can't believe it's not butter.
All right.
Sorry, I saw the opening. I had to take it. Tonight we have an awesome guest joining us. Angela, it's somebody that you know, so we'll let you handle the proper introduction.
Well, my friend Michael here, late last year, started working at Crunchyroll, and I figured since we haven't had that many guests from the actual studios industry on, especially recently, figured it would be a good excuse as any to get someone in to talk about that stuff. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, I mean, I'm about 7 months young into the Crunchyroll. I can explain my role if that's helpful.
Yes.
Yeah,
let
let's
everybody know what you do with Crunchyroll and a little bit more about yourself.
And what you can and what you can only what you can talk about. Like, obviously we don't want to we don't want you to break any NDAs. We respect that.
I appreciate that. Yes. So what I do at Crunchyroll is my best. No, so I'm a senior program manager at Crunchyroll. So I work mostly on the corporate side. So I work in terms of like the data infrastructure, like coordinating that kind of stuff and some launch things. And like we could get into it if you have some questions on things that I've already launched that, like, I was part of. Outside of that, as we all know, Crunchyroll is owned by Sony. And it's ironic because I am wearing Nintendo merch with my Zelda hoodie and cup and all amiibo. So I am a huge gamer. And so like in gaming and anime is very adjacent. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm just a nerd. And so I get to work at place where, you know, I get to enjoy it more. So yeah.
Well, what was it like to be able to get employed by Crunchyroll? As you said, you're a nerd. We're anime fans. I've never been to I would love to go to a recording studio, and I'd love to just love to learn more about the behind the scenes because we talk all the time on the show, especially with the voice actors, that most of the unsung heroes of the animes that we enjoy today are the people who get no more credit than a quick blurb on the screen at the end of an episode. The engineers, the producers, and those are the people that we really appreciate the work that they do. So, what was it like for you to get employed by a company like Crunchyroll?
So it's real funny. So I applied for the job as like just kind of one of those things like it showed up on LinkedIn. And I was just like, I'll apply for it, not knowing that like, it was going anywhere. And I genuinely forgot about it. And then like 1 month later, I get an email being like, oh, hey, our recruiter wants to talk to you. And I'm like, sure, I guess. And so then this recruiter and so I worked at another company, and at that company, I was interviewing people to get hired, and this recruiter called me from Crunchyroll, and I took the call, and I ended up interviewing this poor recruiter, where it was like a reverse, and so we went through that, and the process was a bit longer of a process, but it was very interesting because like doing the interview for Crunchyroll was unlike anything I've done before. So I've worked in a lot of like data and like in terms of like machine learning and stuff like that. But with Crunchyroll, it was more like asking me about like my program management skills. But then I prep for that stuff. I'm like, I did this at this company, I did this. But then someone was like, what's your favorite anime? And at that point in that interview, I forgot every anime I've ever watched in my life. And so I was like terrified. And I was just like, I think Goku is my favorite anime. I went with the soft answer. And this person was just like, why Goku? And then I thought I bombed the interview just for that one moment. But yeah, it was definitely a very interesting process. Surreal.
And the questions have already started from the chat room. John Knight wants to know, what was your reaction when Funimation merged with Crunchyroll?
Is that externally or internally? So like they did the merger before I joined. So when I joined, the merger was technically all done, wrapped up. However, there was still like things going on because like there were two massive platforms. So like
nothing is seamless. We know this.
Nothing is seamless.
And they're still uploading episodes from Funimation to Crunchyroll even today.
Yeah, and it's real funny because like I've seen it all, behind the scenes, but also at the same time too. I just last night was like, hey, I'm gonna watch One Piece because I've never seen it before, and I watch dubs because I'm uncultured, and the dub is not available on Crunchyroll. I was like, oh, that's gonna happen one day, I bet. But yeah.
So, given that, speaking of One Piece, have you seen the trailer for the live action?
I did. So it's interesting. So I know a lot of folks love One Piece. I think for me, I just missed the mark on that one. But I watched the trailer and I was just like, this looks pretty sweet. I bet this isn't good because I also like Netflix is the same studio that did Cowboy Bebop, and I didn't make it through the first episode. I thought it was terrible.
That's a shame.
Well, for the Netflix live action, not the anime.
Right. No,
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop is a classic. One Piece, I'm right there with you. I think I didn't find out about it when it was beginning, and therefore, by the time I saw it, or I heard of it and heard about it, it was already several hundred episodes, and nope.
And it's still going, right? So like, I can't just be like, oh, let's hop into it.
But I have talked about this before, but the Cowboy Bebop live action, I thought it was fine. I thought it was pretty good up until the last episode. The last episode was the one that killed it for me.
What was it that like did it for you? Like put the nail in the coffin?
The way they ended it. They were planning on getting a season 2 and then got canceled instead.
That's irony right there.
And also the way the way they introduced Ed.
Mm, mm. Yeah, no, for me it was just a little too hammy. Like I know like the media it was pulling from, but like it just came off like they were trying too hard. It wasn't just natural. Like
Oh, Mario and I, this is a thing that's come up before. But from some of the audience, I get crap for some of the things I like and dislike.
whew.
Which
Forget
is
the
fine.
audience. You get it from us.
That too. But I also give these two crap for enjoying isekai anime.
Yeah, Isekai is big right now.
Yup.
Hence the shirt.
Yeah, yeah. It was actually really funny. So like last quarter, we were going through our seasonal lineup, and like at one point, our like PR team was just like, "And another isekai is coming." And, like we just kept going through isekais. I think the only isekai that I've really watched and loved is Shield Hero. So
I would say give Realist Hero a
okay.
shot. How a Realist Hero rebuilt the kingdom. That's an isekai that doesn't feel like an isekai through 90% of the story, and the last episode explains the first.
That's interesting.
And that's all I'm gonna give you. I've seen it in its entirety 3 times. It quickly jumped into my top 5 favorite of seeing over like 300 anime.
That's huge to say. All right, I'm gonna have to give that a go. The other thing that killed what kind of killed these guys for me was I led into a conversation with another friend group where someone was like, Space Jam is an isekai, and I was just like, you're not wrong. And then they made it worse by saying, The Mandalorian is just the plot of Yoshi's Island.
Why? Why? No!
I hang out with hooligans. What could I say?
I'm aware. I know 2 of them. Well,
I just love the reaction.
no, I'm just. You had me agreeing it's Space Jam is an isekai. Okay, sure.
All right, technically, so is my gateway anime of Inuyasha. So.
Oh yeah, that is an isekai.
I mean,
Digimon isekai.
Darren, you kind of live the life of an isekai, don't you?
In what retrospect?
You go from the world of fast food to the world of landscaping.
To the world of anime.
To the world of anime. And that's when we lose you. Because the world of anime is like 25,000 Dakimakras on your bed.
Pretty much, and super comfortable. You should try it, ma'am.
But Mike, we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I was excited when Angela told us that she had a friend who worked with Crunchyroll. As we talked about a little bit before coming on the air, we had the owner and CEO and the casting director of Bang Zoom on the show. They've joined us a couple of times. We've also had Darren's friend Godswill, who used to work with Funimation, now works with Viz Media, on the show a few times as well. So it's always fun to have somebody in the industry join us. And you said you work on some of the programming side. Can you tell our audience a little bit about what you do on the programming side working with Crunchyroll?
Good question. So I support the data infrastructure in terms of like things like making sure data pipelines are okay and like reporting metrics out, like viewership and stuff like that. So that's like a super high level in that regard. And then I also support with the launch of certain products. So like one of them being, I wasn't close to it, but I was like, my data team was supporting it, which was the launch of Sony Music within Crunchyroll. So that's a thing that if you go on the Crunchyroll website, if you're a user, you'll be able to see a drop down of music videos, and they're all the Sony Music, offerings. And then I was also part of, from the data perspective, the Street Fighter launch. So it's really cool and surreal to, you know, work on things that are very close to literally the fandoms I love. So like, you know, working in the video game space is bananas to me. And also I still just can't wrap my head around it. So like when I say Street Fighter, I'm saying Street Fighter Duel. So that is a game that's published by Crunchyroll.
That's cool.
Huh.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll producing video games.
There's more to Crunchyroll than we know.
More than meets the eye.
Is this what platform is that on?
It's mobile, so you can
Okay.
play. Yeah, I'm apparently just doing a shameless plug now. Yeah, if you want to play Street Fighter Duel, it's a side-scroller Street Fighter game. Yeah, it's free to play. You just have to just download it. And Crunchyroll just published it in the US.
That's kind of neat. I did not know that. Not that I can really put much more crap on my phone, because in fact my phone's really old. But
Yeah, and there's some other cool. Yeah, it's interesting too because like I'll definitely like. I bet some people are thinking too. It's interesting that Sony, that is that has PlayStation, that's a video game company, also has Crunchyroll that does games. But I think, at least from my understanding, it makes sense having Crunchyroll do this because, you know, these will be more anime focused within like IPs.
it does make sense on that retrospect, where Sony was known for certain variety and certain types of video games. They really didn't get into too many anime-related RPG style, from what I can remember through my years of playing PS, PS2, PS3, PS4.
And any IPs that were even remotely anime related were fighting games.
That were cross-platform on just about everything.
Yep.
It wasn't like Sony exclusive. So no, leaving it to Crunchyroll to focus on more of an anime style video game or series of video games, various different titles and stuff. It kind of makes sense and is smart on Sony's part to let's leave the anime stuff to the anime branch of our company.
Yep.
That makes,
That might be the smartest thing they've done in a long time.
But yeah, no, so that's that portion of it. I'm trying to think what else that is out in the wild so far that I thought was pretty cool. It'll come to me. It'll definitely come to me. But yeah, definitely Street Fighter is one of them. Yeah.
So if you're looking, at like the raw data of how many people watch certain things.
I guess so. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say raw data. So like, I guess so. At a very high level, like whatever clicks you do, like we all know this within the internet, is like that gets, you know, I wouldn't say clicks, but whatever views, like a YouTube video, that's get bucketed and stuff like that, and we're able to say like, hey, this was the most viewed things because of that way, you know. And so it is interesting, kind of, you know, being on that side of the business, understanding that, because like a lot of my job is very like corporate-esque using that data to make educated decisions later. My Boston accent just came out so bad. Later, kid. Yeah, using that data to make educated choices later is kind of like one of the biggest things. So yeah, when I got hired for the role, it was exclusively for the data team. So, and then when I got hired, did the onboarding like a week in, they were just like, hey, why don't you help with this launch? And so I've been working on something for a little bit. And then, you know, I got another thing. So it's been really cool to like be able to do my current job and then also supporting other things outside of that to get more exposure into the company.
That is pretty cool that they, welcomed you in to branch out, especially early on into the company, to give you a chance to get your feet wet in a few different areas, because your skills may be more relevant in one area as opposed to another. So I think that's pretty cool that they gave you the freedom to dip your toes in, so to speak, in a few different avenues within the company.
Yeah, no, it's been really neat. And then it is kind of weird, kind of like, working at Crunchyroll and, people that, I grew up, being the voice actors like Chris Sabat, Sean Chemmel, like they work in the same space. Like I have yet to be at the Texas office to bump into them, but there is one of my coworkers is the wife of a voice actor who she was just casually dropping, like, and keep in mind, like the people I just mentioned are her friends. So like at one point she was like, yeah, if you ever come to Texas, like you can get lunch with like Chris or Sean. And I was just like, oh, we do first names here? Like, okay. And then yeah, she was like, yeah, I forget, like Sean voices Vegeta or something. I was like, that's Chris, but I get it. This isn't your world. So it's just kind of strange, just that stuff being casually dropped. It's like, what? Yeah.
I totally can understand the craziness of being like, oh yeah, we know Todd, we know Michael Tatum, and things of that nature. In fact, the craziest thing for this show is going to actually happen next weekend. Thursday night, I pick up Christy Rothrock from the airport because Anime-Zing Radio is bringing her to a convention in North Vermont.
That's wild.
So if anybody who's interested in coming on up to St. Albans, Vermont next weekend, the 24th and 25th, we will be at Rail City Fan Fest. Anime-Zing Radio will have a table, as will Christy Rothrock, who we are bringing as a special guest courtesy of AZR. And also our sponsor, Casey Fox, will be there as well, have a table with exclusive artwork. Shameless plug. This is an exclusive art piece with our logo and a Lulu from Dragon Maid Season 2, Christie's character. So this is a debut. If you're interested in this, it will only be sold at Rail City. It will not be available after that. So definitely you don't want to miss your chance to come up if you can and get one of these exclusively signed prints, limited edition, and they will be offered to be signed by Christy and us at the table. Angela is scheduled to join us, so be it. Her car will allow her.
Yeah, my car is having troubles, and that's what tomorrow is going to be, since I don't have to go to work tomorrow.
And I'm sorry if my car troubles got passed on to you, because Memorial Day weekend, my car lost its transmission and I had to buy a new one. So all of that, on top of planning this event, on top of planning a move to Pennsylvania, which has gotten moved from the end of July to the first week of July due to the fact of
Right. What in the
a new job. And I can when you were talking, Michael, about an interesting interview experience, I've never had to go through the stuff that I had to go through with my new employer before. I'm going to be working for the Norfolk Southern Railroad out of Pennsylvania.
That's actually really cool. Like, so what was that for you? Like, I'm always a big fan of like interview like experiences.
The initial interview, and I'm was born and raised as a railroad fanatic. We always had model trains in the house. My dad was a huge model railroad. My mother and my father both had family members who worked for railroads years ago in Pennsylvania and Massachusetts. So I had a resume up on Indeed knowing I was going to be moving to Pennsylvania, trying to find work. And Norfolk Southern reached out to me through Indeed saying they were interested. So I responded back, a couple of emails, set up a online call. So it was an over the internet interview process, which then led to, okay, well, we're going to send you some information in the next couple of weeks. We need to do a physical, drug test, background check, the normal stuff, because being a conductor for a freight railroad is a lot more taxing than a passenger railroad. And that was the position that was offered pending passing all the preliminary tests, which I can formally announce that I have been accepted, and I start my training on July 10th down in McDonough, Georgia. So, Darren, I won't be seeing you the first weekend of July, like the first actual weekend of July. It will be the second weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, doing job interviews these days, everything is still online. And I'm not sure how much of that is just the technology or how much of that is a holdover from pandemic when just literally everything was done online.
Yeah. First off, congratulations. That's huge. And second, yeah, I mean the interview process for me with Crunchyroll was all via Zoom. And occasionally Google Meets. I don't know why. Like it was just like not consistent, but that's fine. Um, but yeah, the process took a little longer for me. Then I guess I had probably a very different interview experience than everyone else. My process took about 4 months and about 11 interviews. It was to actually the point where I thought they were joking around. They just thought it was funny meeting me, and I wasn't getting the job. And then when I finally got the offer, I was like, "Oh goodness, what this is happening? Wow!" Um, so yeah, and then so that happened, and I remember when I went to my then manager at my old company, I like called him. I was like, "Hey, so I just got a job offer um, somewhere else." And he's like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm going to this company called Crunchyroll." Silence. And I was like, "They're an anime company?" Silence. I was like, "Japanese cartoons?" Silence. I was just like, "Sony." And he was like, "Oh, Sony." I'm like, "Yep, Sony." So, it's very interesting. And then a couple of folks when I was leaving my old company too, I was like, "Yeah, guys, I'm going to Crunchyroll," and people would be like, "What's that?" And I like to play the game called "What do you think it is?" Someone was like, "Oh, Crunchyroll, that has to be a sushi company." I was like, "That's pretty good." I was like, "What about you?" And someone was just like, "Oh, is it a toilet paper company?" I'm like, "I don't know what branding of toilet paper out there would market Crunchyroll." Um,
Ye- I
I'm
would
not
say
even gonna go there.
I'm just gonna go with not American, and some of the lost in translation bits get funny.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, so I mean, like my previous company I worked for was Amazon. So like when I would go around and be like, "Oh, I work at Amazon," and it's like, "Oh, Amazon, you're a delivery driver." I'm like, "No, but thank you. I can understand." But then now being like, "Oh, I work at Crunchyroll," and talking to people who don't know of like what Crunchyroll is and what anime is, it's very interesting to engage in those conversations nowadays. So like I've now had to like simplify it and be like, "I work at Crunchyroll. We're the Netflix of anime." It's like obviously like that is the most simplified version to explain to someone.
But if they don't know, they don't know. I remember when I put in my time off request for PAX, my boss had no idea what this was and started asking questions. And then once he realized what it was, he demanded to see pictures
That's really funny.
because he
That-
wanted to see me in cosplay.
I've
And
been
of,
look.
and of course, PAX I don't anymore.
Yeah, no, I haven't cosplayed in a hot minute, but yeah, I've been looking for reasons to go to conventions for work. So we'll see.
Come on up to Rail City if you can.
Yeah.
Or, um, were you a part of Crunchyroll Expo? That was not too long ago, if I remember correctly.
Um, I was not part of it when I joined. I think they were just announcing about Crunchyroll Expo being canceled for that year. Yeah.
Because it happened, or at least according to my social media feeds, it happened this year.
Oh, it did? Then.
And it happened out on the West Coast, though.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
So I must
fact,
have just missed it.
one of our friends and a gentleman who's been a guest on the show multiple times, Mario Bueno, has been with Crunchyroll Expo, both when they did their online conventions, and I think he's done a couple of in-person conventions as well. I don't know if you know Mario or not. I know he was based out of New York City. I think I saw in a recent post he moved to the West Coast.
Oh, wow.
And question from the chat. John likes to ask this of all of our guests. Have you seen Show by Rock?
No, I've never heard of it. What is it?
It's an older anime. One of Doug's absolute favorites.
Officially licensed Japanese art book for the show by Rock. It's an anime about these adorable characters that play music of various types and defeat monsters. You get like Plasmagica is one of the is like the main band of the first season.
Okay.
This right here is Cheyenne. She's voiced by Bryn April. You have Choo Choo. The other band members, you have Retri, who is voiced by Caitlin Glass, and Moa, who's voiced by Monica Rial. So some of the biggest names in the industry. The anime was also directed by Caitlin Glass for the first 2 seasons. Season 3, show by Rock Mashu Myresh, brought in a bunch of, I think it was like 3 new bands on top of like the 7 or 8 that was in the original series. And that was directed by Megan Shipman. And then season 4, show by Rock starts, kind of was a mashup of everything show by Rock.
I'll have to give that a go. Yeah, I mean, right now for animes, I feel so bad. I'm like on an anime like podcast. I'm like, so the animes I've been watching, not much.
That's kind of all of us at any given point.
So I'm trying. So when I joined Crunchyroll, it was like during the hype of Chainsaw Man. Like they were literally calling it the Chainsaw Man Halo, which I thought was a really funny thing, being how dark the show is. I watched the first episode. I was like, this is neat. And I obviously started a new job, couldn't really get into it. And then, Demon Slayer came out, like the latest season. And like, that's all we've been talking about. Like Demon Slayer behind the scenes is very fascinating. But so I was like, let me watch this show. I'm about 15 episodes in, and then life got in the way again. So I guess I have a question for you three. Reverse Una. What do you three think of Demon Slayer? Because like that's like a huge like IP right now.
Overrated as hell.
We've had this conversation, and this is one of the ones. I'm between 15 and 20 episodes in, give or take. I'm enjoying it.
I typically will give an anime 3 episodes because you can't always go off the first one because first one is more of an introduction to the show. You have to get into 2 and 3 before you really get a taste of the characters and what the storyline may be. I gave Demon Slayer 6 episodes and it did not hook me.
Okay. I feel like I'm in a comfortable circle then, because I feel like if I go to other people, I'm like, I'm not vibing with Demon Slayer. They're like, shut up, loser. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Here's the thing. You saw it. It's there's
it's not bad. It's not good either.
With there's so much anime that if you don't like one popular show, so what?
I feel like with Demon Slayer, I watched. So I'm 15 episodes in, like I said, and like it was just very like, as the kids say, mid. It wasn't really doing much for me. Like I felt like it was thing. Okay.
It didn't break the internet till like episode 18 or 19 after one of the best executed CGI scenes in anime. That's when it really blew up. So basically, the first season was practically over by the time it finally blew up.
And sometimes that happens. But that's also one that I didn't start watching until much after the fact.
Well, I watched it as it came out. I'm trying to remember. I think Goblin Slayer had already come out, and I'm like, what's another Slayer anime?
Slay it.
Goblin Slayer was good, minus the first episode.
And the first episode was not as bad as people made it out to be, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. So like that one I fell off of because I was just like, yeah.
I've seen like 2 episodes, and I having a hard time going back and wanting to watch more. It just has not interested me. And
I'm
I know
not.
we said that we were gonna give each
I
other the
know, and I
challenges
also
to
I
watch.
also picked that one for you on purpose because
But
it
be
was
proud I got 2 episodes in on something that has not interested me.
I'm just glad I gave her
I'm
one of the
surprised
most
she went
random
through.
ones. Yeah, I was about to say, I'm just glad I gave her one of the most random anime of the bunch, and she actually made it all the way through and wasn't overly critical about it.
eh,
Well, she also watched at a time that she needed that kind of stupid humor.
mindless stupid shit.
Aho Girl was the name of the show.
Yeah, no, at one point we all picked something for someone else to watch, not something they would normally pick.
That's
Yeah,
really cute.
I got an idol group. Oh, what
There-
was it again, Doug?
It was Shine Post.
I was gonna say, did you make him watch Shine Post? That
I
Yes.
made him watch Shine Post because Shine Post, in my opinion, is one of the best idol animes out there. Love Live is just a mindless loop of itself over and over and over again. Minus Love Live Superstar, that has taken a different spin, and in my opinion, it's been one of the best of the Love Live franchise. But that's just my opinion.
There was one anime I watched in the winter, which is not on Crunchyroll. Don't tell them. I was watching Summertime Rendering on YouTube. I mean, on
I've heard
Hulu.
really good stuff about
I was gonna
that
say, it's on Disney Plus now.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet. We meant to and didn't get back to it.
It's a cool concept. It gets a little too much. Well, you'll see what I mean if you jump into it. But yeah, I watched because so I'm really into JRPGs, like at an unhealthy level. I love things that are like,
and
yeah, I love things that are like rescue the cat, defeat a god kind of thing. And so this game got recommended called Loop 8. That's like Persona in Summertime Rendering, and I was just like, well, let me see what Summertime Rendering is, and it was pretty good.
yep, and you say I too have a soft spot for JRPGs, which good to know that one's gonna be up.
Yeah.
I heard that, and of course, first thought that went in my head was Genshin Impact, since that's been such a popular mobile RPG, JRPG game,
And allegedly getting an anime eventually.
and that I think 5 of the voice actors we had on in 2022 were Genshin voice actors.
Wow, and there's so many characters in that game too.
Because I know we had
I believe the first was Josie McCoy.
Josie McCoy, Kelly Baskin, Sean Chiplock.
Did Aaron Campbell do Genshin?
Aaron Campbell was not Genshin.
No, that was just the same time.
That was the same time frame.
Ah,
He was fun to table next to when he finally showed up.
yep.
Griffin Burns was another one.
I forgot Griffin Burns did Genshin.
Yep. Because we had Griffin on, but that was a show we started at 7 instead of 8, so he joined us for the first hour. And then we had our VTuber friend Kaya Tanu join us for the last 2 hours. And we learned about the VTuber world. Which, those of you who are interested, Kaya has gotten their system fixed, and I've seen that they have been streaming again on their Twitch channel. See, we welcome a little bit of everybody.
And
our nerd world on the show.
One thing I'm learning is just how much overlap there is these days within the fandoms. Nerding out about board games and D&D with some of the voice actors was just kind of a huge thing.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, it is. It's fascinating, right? That how it kind of seeps in other places. Yeah.
Now, did you say you weren't able to go to AAC this year, Ange?
We are not doing a con in the fall because we decided actually, I believe AAC is while we are going to be away for AJ's birthday.
Because I was going to say Danny Chambers is going to be there, who you nerded out with D&D with.
Yep.
So I was gonna say, if you went, you might have been able to talk her into playing a session.
Yeah, I know. But nope. AAC is either while we're gone or just way too close to us going away, and time and money and, well,
Everything else.
yeah. Because you know how that goes.
Yeah, I know how that goes with the new job. During the interview, they said I would get the time off for PuchiCon, which is the same weekend. The difference is my wife is going and a friend of ours are going to AAC. She is trying to get a table there again for vending. I will be at PuchiCon, which is a small convention in Pennsylvania that we sponsor. So she'll get to hang out with Danny Chambers. We'll get to meet Megan Shipman, who, ironically enough, I don't know, Megan, if you're watching this, but happy anniversary to you today, as well as she got married the same day we did. Day, month, and year. So happy anniversary to Megan, and I hope things are going well. We haven't talked to her in a while.
But so another really fun, cute, adorable anime, if you haven't seen it, is Bo Fury. And I segue into that because Megan Schiffman is the voice of the main character, is the English dub voice actor for the main character.
Huh.
But the entire premise, or the short version of the premise, a girl who has never played a video game before, her best friend convinces her to join this MMO.
It's a VR MMORPG.
And so I don't want to die, so I'm going to put everything into my hit point, into my defense.
So she just basically becomes a tank.
And inadvertently breaks points of the game because she doesn't know what she's doing and doesn't realize she doesn't know what she's doing, and so there's cutscenes with the devs realizing what they have to fix without ruining it for everyone else.
And not just one time, pretty much every time they turn around.
Because she'll just sit, because something with a poison attack can't kill her, so eventually she just gets poison resistance.
She also acquires a skill where her sword can just devour the enemy in one attack, and it doesn't matter the power of the enemy.
Sword.
I'll have to give this a go. This sounds fascinating.
It is so much. It's fun. It's fun, lighthearted. As we like to put it in this house, zero consequences, because it's all in a video game.
Best kind of thing to watch.
Now, what kind of games do you enjoy playing?
All right, this is specifically for you, Mike.
Yeah. I love that man. We should get him on here. Can we link him in here? No. This would literally just, if you got him in here, it'd just be me just acting like I don't know him. But no. But that's terrible. I seriously love that guy. So you asked what games. So I'm a little bit of a Nintendo fan, if you can't tell. So really, one of my favorite games of all time is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I love the first one, and obviously they updated all the graphics. It's great. And then, so I mostly game. So I have a PlayStation 5, but it just hangs out. I don't do much on it. It was my Final Fantasy VII Remake machine, and that was it. But I mostly play Switch. So the game I'm playing now, obviously, it's this little game called Tears of the Kingdom. So I've sunk like 80 hours into that game. And then when I'm not playing that, I play Mega Man Battle Network because I'm also a huge Mega Man fan.
Final Fantasy 16 drops on Friday.
I saw that. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to enjoy it. So I'm also like, I program manage my gaming. This is very unhealthy. So I'll be like, So I'll be like, all right, you can't buy a new game unless you beat this game, unless it's a collector's edition. So uh so basically right now I'm like, all right, Tears of the Kingdom, this is going to be where I'm at. But then there's this new game coming out, Detective something, not Pikachu, because that came out a while ago. Detective Rain or something like that. I want to let me Google it.
I know, I understand this logic all too well. I have to budget for new video games are expensive. And it becomes am I going to get my money's worth out of a $70 game?
Whoever knows me personally knows that I have a terrible habit of being like, oh, this seems interesting. And then like it's bad. Like off camera, I have like 40 something Power Ranger figures not opened. But I'm also, side note, like where I lack in anime, I'm really big into tokusatsu. So I love like Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman. I don't know why I'm turning this into a jig. But it was real funny because when I joined Crunchyroll and they actually had a Kamen Rider anime, and I was talking to like our curation and programming guy, and I'm like, yeah, it's so interesting you guys
All
have
right.
Kamen Rider.
Okay, question from Ross says, are you talking about Rain Code?
I am talking about Rain Code. Thank you, Ross. I had my Amazon orders. Yeah, I got
And then
oh, go ahead.
I don't know who Catsy is, but can confirm he spends too much money.
Catsy can't confirm this because Catsy gets pictures of my figures every time I buy figures. Also, Steven does too. So, like, shout out
Thank
to
you for being there with me as a figure collector. Trust
Same
me,
here.
it broke my heart this weekend having to pack them all for a move. I have one figure that, because I had 3 of this character, got put in a wrong box. So this figure is going to be out of a box for the move because her box was taken by a different figure of the same character. It's what happens when you have 3 Mega Man figures.
Yeah.
You know that depending, some of those Power Rangers figures are probably worth a lot of money right now.
I'm loving how he's just going to get the figure. You know what? I'm going to join him in solidarity and get some figures too.
God.
Now they're making me want to go get mine.
Get your figures. Let's do this. Let's show.
I
Look
don't
at
even
this.
I don't even know if mine still exists within easy reaching distance, and it's only like a little tiny blind box thing that someone gave me for my birthday one year.
All right, so we just turned this to like a show and tell. So you show me what you got, and I'll show you what I got. Let's do this.
This is the only figure I have that is still out of box.
Okay. What is that character from? I've seen her before.
This is Mega Man from Konosuba.
Okay.
She, in fact, working for Crunchyroll, she has her own spin-off of Konosuba that is airing right now. New episodes drop Wednesday nights.
I enjoy that you know that much about the business I work in, which is actually phenomenal.
Okay, questions from the chat. Another question: what is one Crunchyroll series you wished that should have gotten a Blu-ray DVD release?
That's a good question. I genuinely cannot answer that because like it's really tough, right? Because like I'm gonna say something, I don't know how well this is gonna go, but like we live in a day and age where like, you know, things are pirated so often that you don't know what's an official release, what isn't. So like, yeah, it's a really hard one for me to answer.
And then somebody, John in the chat, do you collect anime Blu-rays?
I do actually. Thank you, John. I don't know why I'm thanking you for your question, but thank you. Yeah, so I have Dragon Ball Z, GT. I'm an elder weeb. Yeah.
No.
About to say, so those are DVDs, not Blu-rays, right?
Yeah, no, they're the DVDs. I've yet to get. No, wait. I got the Kai DVDs later on.
About to say, I don't have Kai, but I got original Z and GT. So I got the complete box set. They're just in my closet right now.
All of my DVDs and Blu-rays are in a storage unit in Pennsylvania. They all got moved out there last weekend. It was Um, I think all the DVDs and stuff, anime and non-anime, took up 7 medium-sized boxes, 7 or 8, because putting them all in one tote was too heavy to move comfortably.
I have about 3 bins in my basement right now.
Yeah. For me, that's books as opposed to other media.
Also, Angie, you pulled out something. Is this part of your show and tell as well?
Sure, why not?
Let's do it. What are we? Is that
This-
Death Note?
That is the entirety of Death Note.
Look at that. Look at that. So I guess I'll show you my stuff since I grabbed. So I just went from the top of the pile. So we have Power Ranger Zeo Lightning Collection. So I don't know why I'm like so far away. So I missed the mark when these things launched. And now for the few that are on here that know me, I literally paid $90 for this toy because I couldn't go my life without knowing I wouldn't get Zeo. So yeah. So yeah, and then obviously I have amiibos that, touch my life and my games. But yeah. Sorry, I'm just putting them back. And then my dog's not a figure, he's just part of it. What's that?
This is a character from Love Live Superstar. Shibuya Kanan. She is the main character of Love Live. I did have this on display. It's one of the things that was boxed up. I know the voice actors of this, and hoping to get a chance to meet them. I wanted to see if I could get the figure signed, possibly, because I also like to collect autographs, because it's kind of a neat thing to not just meet the voice actors of these shows, but I do collect autographs and stuff as well.
Darren is taking a risk by putting his phone camera on.
We got a sock.
Tablet camera on, and
this
doing a
doesn't
show
happen
and tell.
often.
Oh, this is an honor. Thank you, Darren. Walk us through what's going on here. Who are we looking at?
I have to say Zenovia, Rias, Konako, and Sagari.
Neat.
And
And
the
thankfully, they are all safe for work at this moment. Two of the figures can go NSFW.
They're actually all 3 of them can. Sagari's the only one that can't.
Huh.
Yes, the top comes off of all 3 of them. And
Interesting.
actually, I forgot. I think Zenovia and Rias, the bottom comes off too.
Sorry, I got so disheveled. I forgot to put my arm up and just like that. So I guess I have to ask this question because I've always been. This is slowly becoming a reverse interview again. But like, how often do you just take those off? Because like, I can't imagine just I don't know. Like that's like me changing my figure positions.
Practically never.
Okay.
Because I'm not home like that. I ain't got that kind of time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Yeah, so like.
Darren works 2 jobs. He works for a fast food company during the day and then owns his own landscaping business. So when he says he doesn't have the time, he's gone, like 10, 12 hours a day at least?
sounds about right.
He's got the mic muted.
Oh, no, but we're getting some more figures right now.
Sorry. Leave at 4 o'clock in the morning and get home at 9 o'clock at night. So no, it's more like
16-hour days.
16, 17-hour days.
Wow.
And then this figure here was one I got from a grab bag. Because I have a bad addiction to mystery boxes and mystery bags. And this is one of Darren's absolute favorite characters in anime, which he did a favor for us by getting Bryn April's autograph on a Show by Rock piece. I'm going to be on my way down to Georgia. I'm going to be stopping off and meeting Darren for the first time. So we're bringing this to him.
That's so adorable. Do you guys have it planned out what you're going to do when you first meet? I'm assuming hug, right? Or like a gentleman handshake. Like what?
We haven't even gone that far. I've actually been meaning to ask him, do I need to take the day off? Like, what day is he even coming?
I would be getting there probably late on a Saturday to spend the night and then drive the rest of the way to Georgia on the Sunday.
Okay, so I might need to take Sunday off, is what you're saying.
Possibly.
I'm speaking on behalf of everyone here. I'm so happy to be part of this moment. Like, I just can't stress him enough. Like, I feel like this is how long have you both known each other?
Darren
Almost 10 years.
Yeah, Darren was there
Online, you guys, a long time.
Yeah, because Darren was a part of the original episodes. Actually, even before we started Anime-Zing Radio, I was a co-host on another show called Crossing the Void Radio on the Hazy Radio Network, which that network no longer exists. And that was more of a paranormal pop culture talk show. So we interviewed, ghost hunters, paranormal authors, demonologists, things of that nature. Sometimes indie music. Stuff of that nature. And we had a guest cancellation on the Sunday before a Wednesday show. So I reached out to a well-known voice actress by chance, told her who I was. This is what's going on. Would you be interested in joining us on the show? Knowing that through research, I had never really found an anime podcast.
Mm-hmm.
She agreed. Wednesday at 1:00, I got the message from our booking producer that everything was all set for an 8:00 show that night. I got out of work at 6, got home at 6:30, went on Facebook to be like, okay, let's find some anime Facebook pages and see if we can get permission to promote the show.
Mm-hmm.
High School of Anime Lovers was one of the sites that I reached out to and actually got a response back in a pretty timely manner. Darren was a part of that. And because of who the voice actor was, they agreed to let us promote, which I found out during our 9-year anniversary show that we didn't just crash the chat room. It was the most people that tried to enter the chat in the history of Hazy Radio for that show.
Wow.
The voice actor you might have heard of, her name is Jeremy Lee. So that was my introduction to interviewing a voice actor. Of course, me being a huge fan of Jeremy, having just come fresh off of like Strike Witches, Fairy Tale was just starting, the voice, and she's the voice of Lucy and stuff of that nature. Like, I was very hyped up, very nervous, fanboyed really hard at the start, eventually calmed it down. And because of the success, we brought on more voice actors on that show, including Todd Habercorn, J. Michael Tatum, Tia Ballard, Terry Doty. And that led to the discussion of starting this show.
Question from the chat. And this is going to be another one. I know how these two are going to react. Mike, have you ever seen Attack on Titan?
So I have. So Attack on Titan was the Demon Slayer at that time, right? So like, I watched all 26 episodes of the first season, and I sat there going, "Wow, I don't like this." So like, that's called committing to the bit. So
you're a better man than I am. I watched one and said, "This isn't for me."
I haven't started it.
You know what? Just don't. I'm sorry, chat. Like, I just found where the chat is. Side note, please don't jump me. But yeah, I just couldn't get into it.
That is 100% fair. The first 3 seasons, and I have to qualify this. The first 3 seasons, I absolutely loved.
That being said,
the final season, the beginning of the final season,
the final season, part 1.7.
That in and of itself annoys the shit out of me. But even the final season, part 1, honestly felt like it honestly felt disconnected. To the point where I'm going to wait until the final season has entirely dropped.
Okay.
Watch it because I've seen everything else, so I might as well see how the damn thing ends.
You're a better person than me. I can't get back into it.
I will pause real quick because I always forget to do the quick show IDs that I have off to the side here. And these are original show IDs from the Hazy Radio days.
Hello, this is Ciel Phantomhive, and you're listening to Anime-Zing Radio. I hope you like it.
I always forget to play that. We used to do that all the time on Blog Talk and Hazy Radio because I had all the sound bites easily accessible. We also used to take breaks every half hour, where on the video side of things, it's more of just a continuous interview and just laid back chat with our guests. This is our platform. This is what we do. We bring people on and just talk anime, nerd culture, and just have fun.
God.
Yep.
And Ross in the chat room has a question for Mike asking, have you watched RPG Real Estate? And like fans of it said, did you get diabetes from the cuteness of the show?
I didn't, and I've always wanted to try diabetes. I'll give it a go. I'll watch it. So, all right. Yeah, no, that sounds really neat. Does anyone else know what this is?
RPG Real Estate is a story of a girl who moves from like countryside. She's an up and coming, I think, witch. Moves from the countryside into a city, gets a job with a real estate, trying to find homes for random people / creatures, and a lot of cuteness in there. It's a fun slice of life, kind of wholesome show with a twist.
Yeah,
Hopefully, Ross, I did a good enough job summing it up because it was one of the shows I did watch from that time frame. And if I remember correctly,
I was gonna say, Ross, can you verify this?
it is a Crunchyroll title.
And then my question for you, because we've talked about some of the bigger titles.
Oh, you and I, because what's going on?
Spy Family.
Okay, so
we're gonna. That's one of the most pop. Spy Family is like another one of those current Demon Slayers, if you will.
So yeah, Spy Family is very much the Demon Slayer, right? Spy. Oh god.
Nah, I'd say go ahead and then I'll jump in when you're done.
Yeah, so I'll be very transparent. I've yet to watch Spy Family. However, I did watch Buddy Daddies or Daddy Buddies, which out of context, if I don't remember the name correctly, it just sounds like the weirdest dude ever. I watched that. I thought that was really cute. I watched one episode. So what's our thoughts on Spy Family?
Spy Family is one of 3 shows that all 3 of us have agreed on and enjoyed.
I'm liking that this is slowly becoming like the anime council. We have all spoke. We are aligned.
There's very little all 3 of us agree on. It's usually two.
Angela is the shonen. Angela is the shonen, and Darren and I are isekai trash.
Or ecchi, because I still watch them too. Basically, my tastes line up with both of them more than they line up with each other.
Yep.
Angela and I have come to the understanding that if I hate it, she will probably like it, and vice versa. And if we can find one show a season that we both might enjoy, then we've found the hidden gem of that season.
Yep.
Got it.
Spy Family and Bofuri are just 2 of those shows that all of us agree on.
And I think the only other one is Dress Up Darling.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And on that note of Spy Family, during Anime-Zing this year, one of the panels, we had a panel where they were doing a Family Feud style anime, and their 100 responses were from actual students in Japan. And when they said name an anime, Spy Family was the #1 answer at the time.
I will say
it eclipsed Dragon Ball, it eclipsed One Piece, it eclipsed Case Closed, all those long-running series that the Japanese commonly talk about or are commonly exposed to. Spy Family eclipsed all of them, at least in regards to those kids.
I will say something embarrassing about myself here in front of people I don't know.
Don't worry, we do that all the time.
Perfect. When I first talked about Spy Family at work, I was humbled because I called it Spy X Family, and the person was like, it's pronounced Spy Family, just like it's pronounced anime. Granted, the last part I hope was a lie, but it was pretty funny. And then he was just like, it's like you calling Hunter 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 x Hunter. I was like, yeah, I get it. I biffed it. So yeah.
Kisses.
Then how come no one ever dogs on anyone calling it High School DxD, even though it's really High School DD?
Timing.
Just saying.
That's probably a timing thing of when it was released. Because Hunter Hunter, at one point I was talking to someone and I got the same correction, even though I'd never heard of that show before then.
Yeah, that show I just recently finished. Started off on Funimation, and then Funimation didn't dub the rest of it, so I had to go to Netflix. This is slowly just me airing my grievances with my own company right now.
Now we can't be mad at Crunchyroll for this because it was a title licensed by Funimation, but due to the nature of the show, Funimation dropped it. Many Japanese TV shows dropped it. But I really wish somebody would dub Interspecies Reviewers. That was such a fun show. And Darren, I think you agree with me that it deserves a dub.
I agree. Well, and don't forget, there's two or three other shows.
They dubbed 2 episodes on Funimation, and then the content was so graphic in nature. And it's one of those shows that, like, not just tiptoes the line between anime and hentai, it like jumps back and forth.
Uh-huh.
It's like as ecchi as you can get and still somewhat consider it an anime.
No, and then after that, after they pulled the series, they basically erased the the one dub episode that was released and the second one that was previewed from the internet in its entirety. And I think they flat out told all the people that worked on it, do not ever admit you worked on this.
That there's a lot to unpack there. But
this of course was way before your time of working with Crunchyroll, and like I said, this was something that happened with Funimation licensing. From what we understand, the anime went
way more extreme
than the source material. So it wasn't exactly what they signed up for going off of the source material. It was a lot worse.
Fascinating. I guess okay, yeah, no, go get him, studio, who clearly
welcome to the degenerates of the anime world.
Pleased to meet you. Won't you guess my name?
I was gonna say we are nowhere near the degenerates of the internet.
No, we leave that to the trash taste boys.
I was gonna say Sydney.
Sydney's pretty bad, yeah. But not all her content is anime related.
No.
Although she does find some interesting bars to go to in Japan.
I can only imagine.
So who are we looking at?
Rias again.
Okay. Does this one also get naked as well?
All right.
I believe so.
Okay.
I mean, she's on a stripper pole, so.
Oh, yeah.
Ross in the chat is saying, basically, Doug, bringing up your same issue. He wants to know, bring it up, why did Harem Labyrinth in Another World get an uncensored version on Crunchyroll, but not World and Harem? I don't know if you even know anything about this, but what makes them decide what shows get basically uncensored versions versus not?
I mean, it's all licensors, right? So it comes down to licensing and, what we're allowed to show. I'm trying to you could tell the stutter because I'm working around some language here. However, there are instances where there are more flexibility depending on who the streaming service is. So I think that's kind of where it's at.
And as you mentioned, a big thing is licensing. Is company A who gets licensed allowed to expose certain aspects of the anime, or are they required to buy the license terminology to have it be a edited version or a censored version of the show? I know we all know, what they refer to as the godlight that goes through as censorship on many ecchi and harem style shows comes in, and that's not just a Crunchyroll thing. I've seen it on Funimation stuff. I've seen it in Sentai stuff. I've seen it in Netflix exclusive stuff. So it all depends on the company doing the editing and the dubbing, and also the licensee that they get the license from.
And also, the animes themselves will sometimes kind of break the third wall and be like, why is there a bright light covering everything?
But
And hello, Todd. I see he has his normal comment for you, Angela.
Yeah.
He said he just likes picking on you about that, just because
whatever.
you have like the most like blah reaction. That we would have to take up with the creators of the anime, not necessarily the studio that's doing the dubbing. On that one, Ross. Ross was asking, but why censor kissing?
That
That
could
is
just be a style choice. I mean, in certain things, that could be very much just the way the show was written, where it instead of showing anything, it just fades to black and leaves it to the viewer to imagine.
But that's boring sometimes. Nah,
And
the wilder your imagination runs. But then again, having the actual version is nice too.
why? Apparently, oh God, we're back to this.
What did we get back to again?
No, it's Todd saying things specifically to get a reaction out of me, and then being upset that I'm not reacting and wants to pick a fight.
Todd, please. I actually just got the chat here. I'm trying not to look at myself. John's asking me another question. What got me into anime? I'm glad you asked, John. First off, I think thank you for the question. I don't know why I'm doing this. So what got me into anime was a little thing known as Toonami. I was one of those kids who grew up with that, and I tell everyone the same thing, which is my favorite New Year's Eve was the New Year's Eve where Toonami just showed Dragon Ball Z, the Garlic Junior saga to be exact. Like, I think that's where my life peaked. Like, when people ask me, like, where did things go well, it was that moment.
Now, did you enjoy the Adult Swim time as well with like Inuyasha, Fooly Cooly, Witch Hunter Robin?
Yeah, Fooly Cooly definitely showed a very interesting time in my life. But yeah, Inuyasha was really good. Loved that. Also, at one point, where Yu Yu Hakusho was there, but then they moved it to 5 a.m. or 5:30. Sailor Moon. Like, I think I literally remember the lineup, which was like Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Big O, and then I think it was like Transformers, and I like fell out of it then. So like, yeah, if I could relive Toonami, I would. And I know they brought it back, but it doesn't vibe the same.
And it's funny. It's something that we've talked about on the show. My wife and I have talked about as well, about shows that got us hooked on anime way back when. Sometimes it doesn't hit the same as it did back then. Like, you go back and rewatch Inuyasha, and is it more of the nostalgia that makes you enjoy it, or is the show really just not as good as you remember?
I think this is a really good question. We're gonna get really deep right now, right? So I think it's where you're at, right? When you're watching a show or like a story of some sort, because like I don't think it's nostalgia necessarily. I think it's where you are in your life and where it relates to you the most. Because like I could sit there and watch like I don't know Batman the animated series when I was a kid, being like, this show is terrifying. And I was an adult, I'm like, this show is great. So it's very interesting.
And we've got, and some of the chat commentary. This year is the 26th anniversary of Toonami. I feel old.
Could we talk about the person who just threw bo 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 bo? I don't know who
That was getting there.
I don't know who you are, but I love you. Like, just what a
if you want to know who it is, it's none of your business.
stand by what I said.
Literally, that's their name, folks. If you're not watching us in the chat, that's.
But no, I feel like if I were to go back and rewatch one of the first anime that really got me into anime, I feel like it would be way too dated for now. And two, I feel like it wouldn't hold up.
And it's funny too, because like when we look at shows like Dragon Ball Z, I think it's great. Like I still think it's great. But then if I go to watch Super, I actually don't like Super. So I think there are certain things that were good at that time, but just not now.
Dragon Ball peaked with Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball GT wasn't great, but wasn't terrible either. Super was a nice continuation, but it's no. Unfortunately, the art kind of killed it. Like honestly, they did it better back in the original and GT with the art. If you ask my opinion, it had more detail.
And Todd in the chat says, GT, it took too long.
Really? That was the shortest series.
See, for me, I think this might get into that whole where you are personally when you get exposed to some media plays a part. Because Dragon Ball, someone decided I needed to watch this in college because it was their favorite. And I did not like it at all.
Yeah, it's like forcing it. You don't do that.
But some of that was also my last semester before transferring and switching my major. So I was already in a very, very bad place.
I would like to think Dragon Ball was the catalyst, right?
No. I mean, this was also the semester where we watched Serial Experiments Lane during exam week. So there is that. But no, that was more of I think ultimately what that one boils down to is I was never part of the target audience for that.
I have never seen a single Dragon Ball episode.
If we were having this conversation 20 years ago, I'd be like, oh, you have to watch it. But now as an adult person, you're not missing much. Like, I mean, it was good at the time.
The thing with me is, in today's media with so much access to multiple animes, I can't see the limited time that I have to sit down and watch a show to start a long-running series. I don't have the time to dedicate to a series that has been long-running. I lost interest. Like I started Fairy Tail at the start, lost interest about 120 episodes in. I lost interest in My Hero in season 4. If the show just keeps going and going and it's got a ton of filler, you're going to lose me. I prefer the 12 to 24 episode anime seasons because I can watch more stuff in that amount of time as opposed to a long-running series. And I can take in more media or more shows that I might like as opposed to one that everybody says you need to watch, but is, as you said, the kids nowadays say mid.
It's mid.
Okay, Todd, it sounds like you're the one having audio issues because
Yep. The only issue I've seen this whole time is Angela's screen flashing back and forth between Doug's screen.
Cat Z says the original Dragon Ball was better than the rest of the series.
Catsy's right.
Yep, I agree.
Oh. Todd's
Like-
got his audio issue fixed.
Dragon Ball was straight up savage.
Yeah.
But no, it's I mean, we back in the day when anime was a lot harder to come by, you didn't really have as many choices with what we had access to, what we could watch.
Yeah.
Or everything had to be special ordered and imported. Speaking of nice little segue, so I was at a mall today.
Okay.
And I saw an FYE.
They still exist?
They
Right.
still exist. Which prompted an entirely different conversation. But when I was in high school and subsequently just getting introduced to anime, a friend of mine worked at Suncoast, and that's how she got all of her anime was but she worked there, so she could special order whatever the heck she wanted. Nowadays, all you've got to do is download a free app and literally have way too much to choose from.
There's too much out there.
Now, going back to something you mentioned about earlier, Michael, we were joking around about isekais, and you said at Crunchyroll they were talking about, okay, this season we've got isekai. This one's an isekai. Oh, look, another isekai. I'm isekai trash, but I agree there's way too many isekais out there. I've gotten to the point now of where half of them I will watch just because I want to see how terrible they are. And the other half that I watch are seasons 2, 3, 4's continuations of shows that I've already watched and enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
What is your take on the trend of isekai and how big that has gotten? I think isekai has probably grown larger than shonen at this point with the amount of shows that come out in that said genre.
Yeah, so for me with isekai, I think I put in the same bucket as like MCU movies. I know this is gonna sound weird, but hear me out. Like, the MCU has gotten so diverse, not so diluted with like content that it's kind of lost its charm. And I'm so sorry for anyone who's still really sold in there, but like you're hitting a point of fatigue. And so like we're consumers of this media and other media, so like no matter what it is, whenever it peaks, they'll try to produce more of said thing. I do find it interesting though, on the topic of isekais, that isekais is something that we've always had, right? It's just now getting more shown and more showcased because certain elements they're leaning into harder. So I think I just, again, understanding vaguely understanding the world, I give it another couple of years and we'll hit like isekai fatigue.
You don't think we're already there?
I think a lot of fans are already there, but isekais are getting to the
audio
point.
died. I don't know if you could hear me, but I can't hear you.
You can't hear us? Because we can hear you.
I could hear you, and I heard a crack in your crackle sound, and your audio went quieter.
Snap, crackle, pop.
Can you still hear us?
Can you read lips?
I feel like his headset died.
Yeah.
Yep. I just got a Facebook message. He lost audio. Yep.
Okay, so we will.
Technical difficulties.
Michael will be right back. I think
One
he's
of the
back.
few we've had.
Turned it on and off. That's
all
that's
right.
the trick.
So then we'll catch up with the chat in the meantime. Ross's question.
My face palm was not based on what you were saying, Michael. I
Oh, you're
read
fine.
Ross's question, and that's what made me face palm
You know
because I
what?
know what show he's talking about.
Ooh,
I
let me
don't,
get
but I know
in
it's a
here.
guy.
So I will ask the question. I'll put it up on the
Oh
chat.
my.
Mike, would you ever want to marry a red/pink gorilla, a sadistic guild master, or a donkey? Mind you, this is all from the same anime, and all of them have human forms.
I would do the donkey. I would go with the donkey. I feel like that's a simpler option.
Mm,
Did I make a bad choice? Because
no,
I don't
she's
think there's a
just
bad.
glutton.
Yeah, she's a glutton. I don't think there's a bad choice of the bunch.
And I'm gonna share this because I didn't think of this, but they're right. None Your Business says, unpopular opinion, Alice in Wonderland is the world's most recognized isekai, and I will 100% agree with that.
none of your
I
business is
can
getting
agree
what
with
I'm
that.
saying. Isekais have always been around. We're just now noticing it.
And the allegedly
Wait, what about Peter Pan?
Isekai.
Peter Pan is actually a really sad story when you realize
When you
what
get
that is actually about. Because Peter Pan is actually about, Peter Pan and the fairy is not really just guiding kids to Neverland. They're children who passed away, and these are people who are guiding them to the afterlife. That's the true story behind what Peter Pan is. It's a lot deeper than we ever thought growing up watching the Disney cartoon of Peter Pan.
yeah, Disney.
It is Angel Beats before Angel Beats.
I actually have a copy on my bookcase of Grimm's fairy tales. Some of them very dark. Disney kind of changes a lot of them to be less very dark.
By the look, Mike, I'm guessing you did not know that.
Oh no, I did. I was just that's my look. That's my listening face. But I realized my listening face also looks very surprised. Apparently.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no. Yeah, I got nothing.
I told somebody at work at my day job as a mechanic about that, and they're like, "No." I'm like, "Well, think about it. They're guiding them, into Neverland. Neverland is basically the afterlife. These are children who passed away, and they're getting guided by quote unquote, depending religious angels to their final resting place."
And then Ross goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What about Little Mermaid or Super Mario Brothers?"
But it looks like Ross is mentioning the Super Mario Brothers TV show.
Yep.
So that one, I don't know what happened. I think trauma happened because I don't remember. I know I watched it as a kid. I remember I was hyped for like Fridays when Legend of Zelda cartoon was there. I was just like, yes, but I don't remember anything from the show.
Is it bad with like Super Mario? The only thing I remember from the TV show was Captain Lou Albano was Mario.
Yeah, with this like great little strut into like.
There is a Twitch streamer that AJ follows actually did a retro. One of her retro react streams was actually of the Zelda cartoon and the Super Mario Brothers TV series.
Of course, I'm old enough to remember the Beatles cartoon and the Monkees TV show on MTV. All the re-airs from the 60s Monkees shows on MTV when that first aired.
Doug, look up, I swear to God, look up the lyrics to the song 1985. You are one of my friends who will get all the references.
Oh, I already know the references.
About to say, are you talking about Bowling for Soup?
Yes. Because
don't forget, I was sitting there staring at a blank screen in 1982, 1983 when MTV first aired.
When that song was popular, I was still working fast food and all the kids were singing it. And I just looked at them. Were any of you even born in 1985? The answer was a resounding no.
96.
So you were born in '96. I'm not the youngest. I was a '90s baby. Just played out '90s, not just the whole.
Nope.
Yes,
Um,
I tend to be the younger one on this show.
Okay.
Darren
Have I?
usually is the baby of the show. I am usually the old man.
Unless you have Rusty on.
Yeah.
So,
And John Knight asking Mike, have you watched Fire Force?
John, I thank you again for this question. I'm just going to keep getting hyped every time John asks me a question. I haven't, but it is on the short list of things I want to watch. Like that is one that I'm like, I'm coming back for you, baby. So that is actually my
I fell off of that one. Just
I started it. It didn't hook me. It was an interesting
Even
concept, but even with is it Tamaki, the one that has like the cat ears and stuff?
yes, the one with
Even her cuteness couldn't keep me hooked.
you had Maki, and then you had Tamaki.
Maki was the
Tamaki,
one that like worked out and was buff and stuff. Then you had Tamaki, who always seemed to lose her clothes.
pretty much. And so, same author as Soul Eater.
That's why I gave it a shot, because I loved Soul Eater, and the art style was similar to Soul Eater. But I couldn't get really into the storyline. Although I will say, hats off to I think it was Sunny Straight who voiced a character in there that sounded nothing like any Sunny Straight character I've ever heard before.
Heads up. I am gonna drop soon. I'm not probably. I am 100% gonna drop soon. If anyone want to ask any more questions or want to find out my social security number, I'll drop it here. No, I'm joking. I won't drop my social security number.
I was
No.
gonna say.
No,
Let's go.
I'd say I was going to ask a question off air, but I missed the chance.
Oh, off air?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, give him my contact information. 100%.
Will do.
Now, is there any news coming out of Crunchyroll that you can talk about for the fans to look forward to? Now, I know there's a lot of NDAs, there's a lot of stuff that you cannot speak about. So I wanted to preference that. Is there anything that you are allowed to say that could be in the pipe works coming down for fans to be excited about?
Yeah. So, so it's really funny. So I've been messaging Ange on the side because there was one point where I thought I broke my NDA. But I didn't. Side note, I had to Google it. So, so things to look forward to, right? I'm navigating, I'm pattering by myself some time. Tuesday is going to be a fun day. I'll say that one. Tuesday, keep an eye out on Tuesday. That's all I could say.
That's perfectly fine. So fans of Crunchyroll, and like I follow, I am, as you can tell, I am a longtime subscriber of Crunchyroll. I prefer to get my animes legally with subscriptions to I still have my Funimation subscription, even though I haven't used it in God knows how long. I subscribe to High Dive and Crunchyroll so that I can watch as many of the shows. I do have Hulu and Netflix, but I don't use those as much for my anime intake. But I have nothing that I watch on Tuesdays. Like tomorrow night, after I get done with job number 2, I get home about 11 o'clock at night. I will sit down and watch Kuma Bear Season 2 and Smartphone Season 2. Again, isekai trash. Both are isekais. Kuma Bear is just absolute adorableness. Smartphone is kind of a guilty pleasure, but Season 2 is so much better now that it finally has an actual storyline that they're working towards.
Oh, what the heck?
Apparently, Ange disagrees.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, that was me trying to do something and failing because Facebook is being uncooperative.
Now,
Since when has it ever been cooperative?
Knowing that you have to duck out here pretty soon,
Yeah.
we want to give you a chance to promote yourself if people want to get in contact with you, any way that they can reach you, if you have any conventions you may be attending in the future. We call it our shameless plugging section, and the floor is yours.
Wow, I've never had a shameless plug before, so this is gonna be really fun. Yeah, nothing special is going on in my life, but definitely, if you all are ever looking for me, I'm typically on social medias and gaming things as the McJustice. It's as if what Batman would order at a McDonald's. I'm also going to plug my dog, who is clearly not here right now. He's Rory. He's a hoot. You know what? Don't worry. I'm gonna. So yeah,
He was
no.
there for like he was there for like over an hour, and of course
That's
walked
weird.
away.
You know
No,
what? Since I
Speaking
don't
of
have to,
which,
yeah.
where's Haru and
Haru made her appearance before the show. Ainz, if you can see over my shoulder here on the couch, there's a little fluff thing right
Yeah,
under my finger
I-
there. That's
see.
Ainz sleeping. Ainz was on the couch up there. Yes, both of my cats are named after anime characters.
So I'm reading Ross's comment real quick. Ross,
You keep
five.
doing that, you'll end up being here all day.
No, I just power read. Ross, don't worry about it. I'll pull some strings, and by pull some strings, I will try not do anything because I don't have that much power. But yeah, no, thank you very much for letting me do that plug. I would say it has been great to be here. Ange, lovely as always. I want to give a shout out to John for the questions again, because John was. Thank you, John. You were here for me. And yeah, it was lovely. And I will talk to y'all later. Doug, good luck with the new job.
Thank you. Hopefully I get to see you at a convention sometime soon. Like I said, if you have the time next weekend, come say hi to us up in St. Albans.
Absolutely.
If you're feeling adventurous.
You know what they call me. I don't know what they call me. All right. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Have
See
a
you
good
next
one.
time.
See ya.
So big thank you to Mike for joining us, and hopefully he did not break any NDAs. He said it looks like he did not, so that's not what we're here for. We don't want anybody getting in trouble. Half the time we both are like, eh.
If anyone gets in trouble, it's usually the three of us.
Hello, Scott Hare says, "Hey Doogie, didn't forget about you. CTVR archives from Habercorn, Vic, and looking for others." Fun little fact. I got to do a co-host on Scott's show when he had Vic Mignogna on, talking about Star Trek Continues and a little bit about his voice acting career. This was pre all the media stuff that's happened in the last few years. So, putting personal feelings aside and everything, when it comes to the Vic Mignogna issue, the work that Vic Mignogna has done is what earned him his fandom. It's no different than sports figures who are amazing athletes on the field, but are complete dirtbags behind closed doors. So I'm going to leave it at that.
There's a lot I can say to that. I won't, and we'll leave it as, regardless, that's still pretty damn impressive. And
it was only about a half-hour interview. First 15 minutes was spent on Star Trek Continues. Last 15 minutes was talking about some of his voice acting works. And since you're in the chat, Scott, I found this business card. I don't know how old this is, but this says CTVR promo manager. So this was before I was actual co-host. This was our business cards that we had. This was just when I was the promo manager, so promoting the podcast. And man, that was crazy. I'm glad you enjoyed the show tonight, John. Thank you again for all the questions. Like Mike was saying, some awesome questions. Scott Harris says that's a collector's item. Also got to throw a quick shout out to the card shop here in Plattsburgh, New York. It's a new shop that opened up fairly recently, I believe. Popped in there today. They have a lot of like Pokemon cards, a lot of collectible cards. We found some old 20th anniversary box sets that we had that we sold off because needed some extra funds for the move and everything. And so if you're ever in the Plattsburgh area, they are located at 13 Plattsburgh Plaza in Plattsburgh, New York, right behind the Jade Big Lots in that little area there. So, I told them I would give them a shout out tonight. So I did definitely want to give them a shout out. Some great people to talk to. It was a lot of fun going in there today. Again, a big thank you to Mike for joining us. That was really cool. I don't think I'd met him before. You're keeping cool friends from me.
This is along the lines of I haven't seen Mike in quite some time. Some of that is just
Life, the universe, and everything else.
Yeah, and the fact that, we spent a year and a half in a global pandemic. And since then, it's been reconnecting with people has not necessarily been consistent.
Understandable. I think we all have people that we haven't been in contact with since before the pandemic for one reason or another, and yeah, it is interesting to see how slowly the world has been coming back to normal.
Scott is asking you if you want the Jim Taylor interviews.
Certainly. For those of you who don't know, Jim Taylor is a talented artist that we met around the time that we first met Rusty Gilligan as well. And Jim actually put on his own small convention in Connecticut one year. And he goes, on the guest list, on the attendees list or the vendors list, we have Casey, at the time it was Casey Creations before she changed her studio name. And we hadn't even heard of it before, let alone knew that we had a table. So it was really cool that he reached out to those that he considered dear friends and people within New England to go to his first ever convention. No guests, a very small con, and was a lot of fun.
And Ross is asking effectively in honor of Father's Day, who's the best anime dad of all time?
Goku. No, Piccolo.
Lloyd Forager.
God damn it, Doug. I was thinking the same thing.
Not a bad choice. I'd honestly have to think because you rarely see parents in anime, and if you do, they're encouraging on relationships amongst their kids.
Although, nope, I will say the other one that came to mind is the main character from My Home Hero. John says Aizawa from My Hero Academia.
Well, technically, surrogate father.
And yes, Scott, I would love to get the Richard Hatch interview.
Scott, send everything. Literally.
And for the sci-fi fans, Richard Hatch is an older actor. It's not the Richard Hatch from Survivor. Just to make it perfectly clear, because I know that there was a Richard Hatch in that was very outlandish.
Yep.
I have to look up.
I'm just gonna say send everything because I want to listen to some of this crap.
She wants to hear some of my early work and how horrible I was.
And then I'll edit out the things. I'll edit out the things that can't go on the air and put them up.
And Richard Hatch is probably best known for Battlestar Galactica for all of you sci-fi fans. And it was an honor to get a chance to interview him. I know he's since has passed away.
Ross is saying he agrees with me, but as I've been rambling about nonsense, I'm not sure what he's agreeing with. Scott, I just assume there's editing that's going to need to be done, if anything, cutting out
Commercial
like
breaks.
commercial breaks and any licensed music, just to be on the safe side.
But it is crazy to think that, we had our 9-year anniversary show this year. And Scott, again, thank you so much for being a part of that. It really meant a lot to have you on the show to talk about the early beginnings of AZR history and hear some fun stories. And even I didn't know how crazy it was with Jeremy Lee, because Scott was the one producing and hosting the show at the time, so he knew all the numbers of what was going on when we crashed the chat room for, I think, the only time in Hazy history.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to play a little game with the chat. I might regret this.
You probably will, knowing some of the people out there.
Knowing some of these people, I will probably regret this. But since we're coming up on the end of the spring season and subsequently the summer season's starting in a week or two, maybe 3 in some cases, I'm going to let the chat collectively pick one anime for me to watch and talk about over the summer.
That in the summer season.
My watch list is only my summer 2023 picks are at 4. And granted, we haven't done our preview episode yet, but and now they're talking about, oh God. You really getting? I expected that from Ross, not from you.
What did we do?
Doug posted in the chat that I need to watch My Unique Skill Makes Me OP even at level 1. I suspected that by even agreeing to this that I was going to end up getting suckered into watching an isekai.
I actually no. I think the better choice for her to watch would be this one, chat. I'm gonna put this one in the chat.
That being said, if nothing else, it'll no,
Yes.
I'm not watching Vending Machine. No, I'm not doing it.
Hey, you said anyone the chat picks, so nice.
You two don't count as the chat.
The chat make her suffer.
I'm vetoing Vending Machine just on principle.
Oh, come on. Don't you want to see how stupid this is as much as I do?
No, I don't.
It may not be as stupid as what we realize.
I mean, it could be the next hidden gem, or it could be the next conception.
Ooh. Wait a second. Something recently got added to the summer season that has piqued my interest. More Horimiya. Hell yes.
I was looking through the list just before we're going on, and literally there was only 1 or 2 shows that even piqued my interest.
Zom 100?
I literally the Vending Machine one. I kind of want to watch because of how much we have poked fun at this concept for the last year plus. And,
Liar.
The Dreaming Boy as a Realist kind of has my interest a little bit. And then Ange pointed out the Unique Skill makes me OP even at level 1, thinking that would be up yours and my alley, Darren.
Maybe. By the way, is anyone Mashoku Tensei Were both of y'all behind on that one?
I've never started it.
Oh.
Ditto.
I've been
Okay.
told I need to watch it because it's
Yes,
probably
'cause
one of
it
the
is-
best isekais out there.
And also one of the first.
Um,
And that makes sense as to why it's the GOAT.
I'm just gonna share this. Unrelated to anything, but I know at the very least, Doug will appreciate this. The Boston Red Sox, who have been playing like hot trash all year, just took an entire set from the New York Yankees.
Yes.
ESPN decided I needed to know that.
So the Red Sox just swept the Yankees in a 3-game series?
3-game series, including a doubleheader today because Friday's game was rained out.
Those who know me know that I am Massachusetts born and raised, so most of my sports teams are Boston or New England based. I'm a Red Sox fan, I'm a Celtics fan, I'm a Patriots fan, and when it comes to the NHL, I'm a Colorado Avalanche fan, 1, Detroit Red Wings fan, 2. Partially because those two teams hate each other, especially in this mid to late 90s when I was really big into the NHL.
It's funny. I have seen more Buffalo Bills games than I have Patriots games. But that's because my mom grew up in Buffalo and grew up a diehard Bills fan.
On that note, tying that back into the anime world, I want to throw a shout out to our friend Pop Girl, who was in the U.S. last week for a convention down in Texas. And I hope, Sophia, you had a wonderful time in the U.S. She flew across the pond from England to come to the U.S., met some of the other mods and some of her friends from the Realists Facebook fan page, and got to meet and talk with Monica at the convention. So I hope she had a wonderful time. It'd be fun to connect with her in the future. She's been a guest on the show in the past when we wanted to learn more about what the anime world was like in the UK. And like I said, hopefully she had a fun time. I think she wants to try to plan another trip to the US next year, only the northeastern US, I think.
Wonder if she had a connecting flight at RDU.
I have no idea. But she is a diehard Buffalo Bills fan, and that's what made me think of it.
That is fair. And that is very random. But most football fans, how they end up with their team is fairly random.
And John, I see your comment about The Devil is a Part-Timer season 3 for next season. If I'm being 100% honest, I couldn't get into season 2. I tried in Japanese. It didn't hook me after about 4 episodes. So I thought maybe it's because I watched the original in English. So maybe it was just the fact of different voices. So I watched it in English and got about as far as I did in Japanese. And it didn't do anything for me. I had so much high hopes for that, and I just felt disappointed. It didn't hit the same as the original, probably because there was such a long delay between season 1 and 2. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that it probably has the same issue as Attack on Titan is gonna have when it finally ends. It's gonna take so damn long for it to end that the fandom is just gonna be like, oh, okay, it's done. I whatever. It didn't feel the same at the end as it did at the beginning because of so much time between everything.
Are you watching Rent-A-Girlfriend 3?
I didn't finish 2. I lost interest in that too. It started getting annoying.
And I think that ties back to something we were talking about, the whole self-contained 12 or 24 episodes, that's it and it's done, versus stuff that gets
hundreds of episodes
or 4 or 5 seasons with lengthy delays in between.
I mean, even Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon was a series that I loved seasons 1, 2, and 3. Season 3 I thought was the best season. Never watched 4, and I know there's a 5th season coming out.
I need to finish 3.
And I mean,
Data Life was the same thing. Couldn't finish 4 because like season 3 was great. Season 4, meh.
And did you watch any Data Bullet?
No, because I'm not a Kurumi fan.
and the other thing is it's interesting how they do seasons as opposed to Western media. And I suppose even that's changing because of like HBO and stuff, but growing up, Western TV or America would run new episodes of a show, and you had the long running shows, but it would be from September basically through May, and then summer reruns.
Never really paid that much mind.
I had at one point when I took a television production class, this was something I actually had to make notes about because part of it was how much TV did we consume.
More than we should.
At that point in time, I was hardly watching any.
For us, what I remember with that was every time we had something go on, if we were sick or whatever, The Price is Right and other shows like that in the morning was our go-to. And anytime we found a chance to get it put on in the classroom, which was rare but did happen, everyone was glued to it as kids.
But it's really interesting to see that there's so much standalone, like single seasons of a show, like a single season of a show, and that's it. There is no more.
Mm-hmm.
That's
not the American way in any way, shape, or form.
exactly. And then also it's there's the classic ongoing stuff, Bleach, Naruto, Naruto might have finished or is very close to finishing.
Case Closed is still going. Crayon Shin-Chan is still going.
Pokemon is still going, but just with another main character.
Bill Nye, the science guy, pops up in the chat.
What the?
Random.
The randomness of Todd.
You know,
Todd's gonna miss me. For those who don't know, Todd works in the bay beside me at the garage, and he's an anime guy like I am, and we talk anime quite a bit throughout the day. So my quirkiness and stuff, I think this is his way of getting back at me for all the stupidity I do at work to him.
I need to get my employees listening to me because I actually had a moment this morning. I had all 3 of them in a corner because I had a new guy come to find out he's an anime fan. I had one I knew was an anime fan, and I had one that I knew was an anime fan before he started going out all the time.
Yep.
I had all 4 of them.
Ross, I heard that. That is a sad, sad time.
And Scott Hare in the chat room saying the first AZR he has is Tia Ballard from April 6, 2016, which is our debut show. I believe I have that on the memory drive that I gave you, Angela, as one of the ones.
You know what? I'm going to pull that up.
Because that was the first ever Anime-Zing radio that we've done. And my God, it's 10 o'clock already. The night just flew. Holy
There's your clock.
On that note, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you for all of our listeners on the podcast platform as well. If you want to be a part of the live show, come on over to YouTube Sunday nights between 8 and 10 p.m. Eastern. Yes, John, as John Knight has just said, happy Father's Day to all the dads, anime dads, father figures. It doesn't matter if you have human babies or fur babies. You're all parents. And Also, again, happy wedding anniversary to my wife. We have been married for 7 years today. Happy anniversary to Megan Shipman because she got married the same day we did. And next week, we will not have our typical live Sunday night show due to the fact of traveling to and from a convention. However, do expect our normal live streams from Rail City Fan Fest, where we will be joined by Angela live at the con and Christy Rothrock. So it should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of craziness as well. In 2 weeks, we will return with a live show, and I should be a part of that one. July 9th will be in question. We may do a summer preview show on July 2nd, or we may have a guest, because I put a couple emails out looking to see about bringing some people on. So keep an eye on our Facebook page, keep an eye on social media stuff, and we will let you know what's going on. I'm sure tune into our live stream next weekend, because we'll be live streaming during the day, Saturday and Sunday.
And
Ross, I'm sure you'll be there.
And I will put up a Facebook poll. I will put up a Facebook poll of what anime y'all think I should watch. And no, I'm not watching Vending Machine.
So Vending Machine is it?
No.
Yep. So please add poll options.
Put other Vending Machine.
Yep. You said any, so you've already jinxed yourself.
On that lovely note.
Until next week when we are live from Rail City Fan Fest, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And Ross says, what about the 2 choices he gave? Which Devil's... I'm not sure which one.
So which ones did he pick?
I don't see. Ross, let us know which ones he picked. But again, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I hope everybody has a wonderful night.
Devil is a Part-Timer Season 3, if that's one of the ones, could be interesting because I have not seen Seasons 1 or 2, which might actually make that entertaining.
It could be. I mean...
It may make you realize how great Season 1 was.
But on that lovely note,
like I said, until next week when we are live from Rail City Fan Fest, have a wonderful night. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you again next weekend.
Good night, everyone.